GYMDAD Fitness. Today we have a review for you by Samurai Science Nutrition. This is Samurai X. And these guys, they had a hard-hitting pre. I'm blanking on the name of it right now. Let me look it up real quick for you guys. But these guys had a pre that was an Alfeo slapper, kind of more of a microdose type product a few years back. I think there was I think Garage Gym Homie, Heist of Mace, Drug Free Dansby, all did reviews on that one. Let me see if I can find the name of it right now, what they had back in the day, just to give you some context. Maybe this one will ring a bell. Warrior Focus, that's what it was. Warrior Focus was more of a stim package. So this Samurai X is by the same makers, and this one is more of a pump slash nootropic, more of it's caffeinated but not over caffeinated. It's not a slapper. So that's where this one kind of falls in. Warrior Focus is currently out of stock, but they'll be back in. He's revamping that formula. But anyway, Samurai X is exactly the kind of pre I like to get on this channel when I hit daily type drivers. This is definitely an interesting one too. We'll get into label breakdown. We're gonna do something a little bit different because this is some big brains label action going on right here. So I'm gonna do a little bit of like research too. And I could just sit here and try to memorize everything, but I got some notes here on my phone on a breakdown for as far as like the ingredients, and like I won't cover the things that we see a lot, the citrulline, the biotines, the beta alanines, but some of these more interesting ones I will go in a little bit more in depth. So if you can either skip through it or listen up, and a lot of this stuff you could listen to on ChatGPT, or like go down listen. A lot of this stuff you could look up yourself on like a ChatGPT or something like that. But I always liked I would go on walks a lot with my dog in the evenings, and I would listen to like some of the reviews, and I always thought it was kind of cool when they would just go over real quick what each ingredient does. It's almost was a nice refresher, and I didn't really care if they'd memorized it off the top of their heads or read it out loud. So I'm gonna do that with this one since it's kind of unique. And first off, the flavor was bloody orange. So blood orange flavor, and this thing was delicious. Also, I love the samurai type theme for this one too as well, man. Get into that samurai mindset when you take this one, because we'll go over in the effects of why I say that. But the bloody orange was absolutely delicious, like 10 out of 10. So I ran this as a pre-workout twice, and I ran this as like a nootropic before going to the park with the kids, before going on a bike ride 2 times at 1 scoop. And that's what I love about these types of pre's that actually taste really good. It's like a Saturday late afternoon when I train in the morning and I want a little bit of caffeine pick me up. You want something like you can kind of sip on and enjoy. So throw a few cubes in this thing and enjoy it, man, at 1 scoop as well. That's another with these daily drivers. I love it when they're 1/2 scoops, because I could do the 1 scoop and feel like I'm not like just overdoing it with the caffeine for the day. So we'll get into that and why, and the label here in a second, the caffeine content. But overall, grammage was pretty damn accurate. It's 24.5. So loaded scoops here, 2 scoops, 20 servings for 2 scoops. But like I said, 1 scoop makes a really nice, smooth nootropic. And let's go ahead and get straight to this label breakdown now. Also, before I get into the label breakdown, I want to mention this thing is, if you use the GYMDAD code straight from their website, he's got this thing down to $40. So the GYMDAD code just knocks off shipping. So the product is $40 straight. So that's pretty wild for these loaded daily drivers. I think most of these loaded daily drivers these days I've reviewed on this channel. So put that into context when we go over this one and I'm comparing it to other pre's. Most of these hardcore dailies, the Psycho Stims, the Swole House, the Wrecked by Huge Supplements, the Crack Daily was pretty damn cheap actually. So it's gonna be just as expensive as Crack Daily almost. So for something this loaded is pretty cool. It's $40 with free shipping. So anyway, vitamin complex here to start it all off. We have the sodium as Himalayan pink sea salt, vitamin B6 and B12. Then we go to the blood flow matrix, and then we have citrulline, beta alanine, and biotin. That's the all-around performance output. We don't need to go into detail on that stuff. Agmatine for the pumps. Vasodrive, if anyone remembers this one helps relax the blood vessels, improve circulation and endurance. We see Vasodrive quite a bit. And then black ginger extract, a little bit different here. This is helps with increasing stamina, libido, and energy. So interesting one to throw into the blood flow matrix, but let's see how this thing rolls. And then we have the Zenshin Saka Drive Blend. I don't know if I'm pronouncing any of this stuff right, but there you go. That's what we got here for this one. Theobromine at 600 milligrams. That is loaded. The most I've seen recently that I can recall is 300 in Crack Reloaded, I believe. Let me double check real quick. I know I have Crack Reloaded pretty close to me. Yeah, theobromine for Crack Reloaded is 300, so we have 600 going on here. So absolutely loaded. If you remember when caffeine's broken down, theobromine is what's found in chocolates, provides you that like that good feeling, that good vibes. And caffeine when it's broken down, it's broken into, I can't remember the third ones, theobromine, paraxanthine. So it's a caffeine, I believe it's called a precursor. I'm not sure the science jargon. I'm not a science, was never a science major, very poor in that subject. So I stuck to the numbers, but anyway, that's the caffeine anhydrous breaking down to the components it breaks down to. The ones we enjoyed the pre-workout is the paraxanthine and theobromine, which is next. Is going to be coming up on the list here soon. The paraxanthine, which is very interesting here. Then Araya Genesis, which is kind of interesting for something like this that's got kind of like it's like more of a wholesome product, wholesome ingredients. So Araya is one of those ones. It's not like a forbidden like 2 amino type one, but it's one of these ones that's kind of like, you don't see it as often. I don't even know if GNC type products carry it right. I'm not honestly, I'm not 100% sure, but Araya kind of gives a little bit of backbone, kind of gives it that stem junkie type feel. If it's a good source, it's going to provide a little bit of a head buzz there. And then we have a Catabia bark. Let's see what this thing is. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but this is a natural stimulant, supports mood, libido, and endurance. Honestly, I haven't really seen that one too much either. And then caffeine anhydrous at 200 milligrams. And this one is, this is the 1 scoop, 2 scoops of standard caffeine anhydrous, kind of provides that backbone. The English ivy extract too at 300 milligrams. That's a new one we don't see out too often too. And then the next one, this is one I really want to discuss, was paraxanthine. I haven't seen this one yet in a complex where, there's caffeine included. So paraxanthine, this is like I mentioned, it's when caffeine's broken down, one of the things it's broken into is paraxanthine. Paraxanthine's one of these stimulants that provides you like that euphoric benefit. And so when I covered paraxanthine pretty in-depthly in the BH2K review. It actually reviewed my only energy drink called Update, and it was a paraxanthine-based energy drink. And so paraxanthine has been coming to the market for people that want the benefits of caffeine, the euphoric benefits, but don't want all the smoke that comes with it. Some people have a tough time digesting caffeine, and so they seem to get all the jitters and all of the anxiousness, but never receive the good benefits. And so paraxanthine came to the market fairly recently to kind of provide that benefit. So we saw that in the BH2K, but unmatched supplements, and I believe they even sell it as like a whole ingredient now as well. And so anyway, paraxanthine with caffeine and all these other complexes is very unique because I've not seen it in conjunction with caffeine yet, and I don't know if I remember digging in research. They mentioned the talks of combining it with caffeine, and I believe that a lot of the paraxanthine founders and things like that, the people that have really been on the front of that one were kind of like, it kind of defeats the purpose because you're pretty much just adding back in all of the caffeine jitters to the paraxanthine already. But then I'm kind of wondering, like, what if you're okay with caffeine? What if you digest it just fine? Because I'm wondering, like, it's like, no one really knows until someone's crazy enough to put it in there and do it and see what the hell, if it works. Because like I love caffeine, I kind of like a little bit of the anxiousness that it provides. It kind of gives me a little bit of an adrenaline rush. And so what if we add some more of the goods and on top of it? So like, let's do it. Let's do this thing. And I've actually, that BH2K one with the paraxanthine, I know many people will not approve, especially Chris Githens from Unmatched Supplements, but I even stacked like half a scoop of Smash on that one time, and it was awesome. So I've got high hopes it's coming together nicely. And then caffeine citrate, the fast-acting caffeine at 100 milligrams. So overall, the raw caffeine this thing yields is only going to be 250. So this is going to be a smoother product. And Halostatian's that stimulant kind of similar to ephedrine. And this is increases alertness, kind of like helps with kind of add a little bit more of a get up to the pre, give it a little backbone without like, blowing you away with some of those ECA stacks from back in the day type stuff. And there seems to be a strong correlation with ephedrine Halostatian and the success of the pre. Halostatian popped up in Doomsday Destruction, I think Legit V2 as well. And then pregnenolone, and this is a neurosteroid that may help focus and mood. I'm not sure if I've seen that one in other products, but we'll see how this comes together. A small 5 milligram dosage there at the end there. And then, let's see, the Mushin Foundation Matrix. We have tyrosine at 200 milligrams there, 2,000 milligrams. You know, tyrosine, we've seen that before, helps with focus. Same with alpha GPC, same with lion's mane, same with huperzine A. All kind of like, you know, just a quick little brief thing. The tyrosine helps with focus and stress control. Alpha GPC, we've seen this all the time, improves like cognition. Lion's mane, this is one that's debatable, kind of helps ease the stem effects. It's a mushroom, helps support brain health, focus. So I know some people don't like lion's mane too much because it kind of smooths out the stem effect. And then huperzine A, sharper focus, mental clarity, kind of overall. And then absorption blend at the end, the BioPure. And so effects time. How this one all comes together. So this is unique. This is a different one for sure. I ran this thing twice. Sunday for leg day, and then today for triceps. And I mentioned 2 times at 1 scoop for active rest day kind of things. Like, actually, it wasn't a rest day. It was just later on in the day, multiple hours after working out, 6 to 7 hours after working out. Took it for you know, just a little afternoon pick me up before doing something active. And the leg workout and the tricep workout. So the main theme here is this thing comes in, the caffeine citrate and caffeine, it comes in within the 15 to 20 minutes. It's a nice subtle energy pickup. You're definitely like, you feel the caffeine kick in, and then you feel the energy going with the other active ingredients going on in here. Maybe some of that halostashine come into play, maybe some of that paraxanthine mood lift come into play. It's really hard to put a finger on what provides this, but it kind of has this like, you feel good, but you're like at ease. You feel like you've been lifted up a little bit, but at the same time, you're not like just straight tweaking out, which is what you'd expect. And there's definitely more euphoria going on than just like the standard caffeine, but it's light. It's like almost like you get into the mind of the samurai right here. It's almost like a meditational like state of mind. Like you feel very locked in the zone, focused, but ready to go, but not like drug like bottle rocket to the sky, like I'm on one, I can't do anything but like, you know, lift. And like this is one of these ones that like, you know, you're ready to go, you're ready to complete the task, but you're in control. You are at ease but in control. You are relaxed but ready to lift. And I would say the real party comes in. I took the product, I got to the gym, I'm ready to go, and I kind of get to this point. I'm like, okay, this is pretty focused, this is pretty euphoric, but this thing might be one of those lower energy ones where I got to bring my own juice. But then that Araya really kicks in. I kind of always forget. Both times I took this thing, like, shit, this, that, or that. You almost got to give this thing more time to brew. Because the same thing happened with me with that Psycho Stem. That Araya, first, it always takes, it's kind of like 2-amino and Junglins and 1,3 on how it takes for me to brew. Probably a little quicker than a 1,3 product or product that claims 1,3. But it really comes in. The full package for this pre is about the 30 to 40 minute mark. And it is one of these ones. So it's got that like a little bit of backbone. It's got a little bit of that Araya type bubble, that euphoric element that Araya brings to the table. It's not like, you know, insane. Like you're not just like dancing type of vibe. You're just, you know, you're ready to complete the task. You're ready to lift. This is a nice pick me up. It gets you locked in, tunnel vision, ready to go, but not in an unhealthy manner. This is a very productive nutritional feeling pre, so we're healthy feeling pre, you know, you feel a wellness type pre-workout is what I would say. Even though some might debate that combining the paraxanthines with caffeines, but to be honest, like I thought it was a really cool combo. I really enjoyed it. I'm kind of happy. I'm happy that someone eventually, you know, took a chance and did this combination. I don't know if they're the first, but it's the first one I've had with that combination. And definitely like, yeah, that 30 to 40 minutes, you're ready to go, you're pumping iron, and it lasts probably a good, I would say, hour to an hour and 30. And then when you're ready to leave the gym, you're good, you're set, you're ready to go, you're still like locked in, focused. Damn, you feel so like mentally clear, but at the same time not like stemmed out, shaking. You are in the mindset of a samurai. Like you will feel like a samurai on this, and I mean that in a way of like you're alert and you're ready for battle, but you are not tweaking out. Like who's ever seen a samurai just shaking their ass off, just like can't even hold a dumbbell steady because you know, the alpha yo is slapping them so damn hard, and the 2-amino's got them so bottle rocket to the sky, their eyes are bright red. No, samurais are always cool, calm, collected, in control. Look like they're almost in a meditational state, and that's the way that this one's gonna make you feel So when you come into this, I want you to get into the mind of the samurai when you're running this product. And the pumps were outrageous. I loved it. The 9 freaking grams of citrulline in this thing, combined with the agmatine, the vasodrive, the black ginger extract, if that helps at all. I can remember that was more for libido, but I think the keys for me was the 9 gram of citrulline paired with the agmatine. Very solid pumps. I always feel like when it's a full pump complex stacked with a lower level of caffeine, the pumps always feel so much better. And it's like as far as score breakdown goes for this one. Pumps. I'm gonna go and give this thing. Let's go and give this thing a 10 out of 10. To be honest, like I'm trying to think of a way to, like, if they wanted to make this thing any better, but maybe add, if they want to make it more of a vascular style pump. If maybe they could add some glycerol if you wanted more of a watery type pump. But I kind of like the more vascular style for this one, and that's what this definitely leans, is that toward that direction. And I loved it. I honestly can't make it any better. I probably would have given this thing a 9 out of 10 if it was more caffeinated and more stimulated, because I feel like these products that kind of take it easy on the caffeine, they always seem they provide better pumps. Either that, Alpha Yo always provides better pumps too, but I knew that's for the Warrior Focus for that one. And so, anyway, pumps 10 out of 10, flavor 10 out of 10. Overall euphoria. This is an interesting one to score, because the euphoria, I wouldn't call it happiness. We have euphoria of anger, but this one was like this unique category of like samurai type euphoria. Like, you feel good and ready for battle, but you're at ease, like your heart's not pounding out of your chest, but at the same time you're not on the verge of falling asleep. You're cool, calm, and collected, but you're energized and awake. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this one, for such a unique score in such a unique category. So make sure you watch this. People might screenshot this and say that, like I said, this thing's got just as good of euphoria as 2-amino type products, but like, this is an interesting one. I'm going to go and give it a 9 out of 10 just because of the uniqueness and the style of euphoria that it provides. I've never experienced something just quite like this. I'm not saying this is completely like the most mind-blowing, unique product I've ever seen, but it's definitely something a little bit different than the normal daily driver. And then overall sense of urgency. This is not a very urgent pre. You're not going to buy this one for urgency. So I'm going to go ahead and give this thing for sense of urgency a 7 out of 10. It's enough to get you going, get you up, but at the same time, this is not, I don't want anyone to think that this is going to bottle rocket them to the sky. So I'm not saying that there's anything they should have done to improve the urgency. This is exactly what I want for this product, but I don't want someone to see my scorecard and buying it for an urgent pre-workout when it's not really. And so I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 for that. And raw energy, I'll give it a 7 out of 10 too, because I don't want someone buying this thinking this is just a straight energy drink. You're shotgunning an energy drink and just get slapped in the face by 450 mgs of caffeine, and going to be going to the gym and hanging out with all the other broccoli heads that drink 5 energy drinks that day. This is more, like I said, this is a cool, calm, collected type pre-workout, and this was perfect for the situation. Just realized my little thing shot off. I'll have to make sure this is some technical difficulties, but anyway, that's all I got for you on this one. Like, subscribe, catch me on the next review. I know this was a little bit of a long one, but I wanted to get into the label breakdown and the ingredient profile of this one because it's such a unique product here. It's a small company, so I love supporting places like this that throw everything they got into a pre. This is not a cookie cutter label. They try to think outside the box. They tried to be unique, and this is a product experience that matches the label 100%. And I love it when they do that. It frustrates me sometimes when you have these pre's that call, like, edge of death, and then it hits like the most happy euphoric buzz in the world. It's like, okay, this was a great pre, but come on, let's try to connect the design, the name with the experience, and this is one that definitely does it. This is samurai mindset, like I mentioned in the review. But like, subscribe.